We welcome you live to Hermosa Beach, California, the Miller Lite Championships. Chris Marlowe, Paul Sunderland, Bill Walton on hand to get things started today. A little earlier, the number 1 and 4 seeded teams. Check it out. Karch Karai, Scott Ayakatubby, Bill Boullianne, and Brian Lewis. Semifinal action on day 2. Karch Karai in the pink hat. Karch is 6'3", 205 pounds, 34 years old from San Clemente. On the opposite side is Bill Boullianne. He is 6'4", 200 pounds, 29 years old from Palos Verdes, California. There's one of the most popular players on tour, Brian Lewis, and we're set, ready to go. Lewis serving first in green. And Ayakatubby crunches the first one straight down.
Karai and Ak, I think, big favorites in this match. If you look at the season record, they have an advantage. They played 5 times, won every match. But Boullianne and Lewis coming off a nice win over Stokos and Steph, 14-12. They served extremely well. They've got to limit unforced errors. They had a number against Stokos and Steph that's really allowed them back in the match.
Bill Boullianne gets the first serve and Beat puts it away. There's Boullianne, hat, purple tank top, green trunks, and he will serve. He figures to get a lot of work in this match, hitting, blocking, and serving. 1 game to 15. Winner advances into the winner's bracket final. Brian Lewis will not block. He'll come back and play defense, we think. Yes, he will. Karch shoots that. See ya.
Gotta stay up there. They had too many players make that mistake on the marginal pass that's down near midcourt, particularly if you're looking at the ball coming into the hands of a Scott Ayakatubby. You just can't commit to the retreat. You got to stay up there and block. Easy kill for Karai.
Karch, no score.
Line. Come on.
Karch with a dig.
Nice.
Boullianne got it. Boullianne with the kill.
And quick read by Brian Lewis. He saw the joust coming, anticipated where Scott Ayakatubby was going to try to go with the ball off of Boullianne, and Brian Lewis right there with the play defensively.
Boullianne and Lewis, the 5th seeded team in this tournament. Karch Karai and Scott Ayakatubby now back to being the number 1 seeds. Serve is out of bounds. Whoa, they're going to overrule it. Greg Krause says it's in. Ace for Brian Lewis.
And the linesman stands down, gets down on the court and corrects himself. Karai lets this one go. Just, if at all, caught the back end of the line. But Greg Krause, from about 35 feet away, overruled the linesman who initially called the ball out of bounds.
1-0. Bill Boullianne and Brian Lewis lead Karai and Ayakatubby. And Lewis serves it out of bounds. Brian Lewis, the number 1 server on the Miller Lite AVP Tour. According to the Powerade serving rankings, he's averaging almost 2.5 aces per game. So we'll see if that holds up in this one. Ayakatubby serving. And Boullianne is into the bottom of the net.
Little indecisive call, though. Brian Lewis set the ball very accurately, and he's saying, my fault, partner. He said, cut line, and those are 2 opposite shots. You can't hit the ball in both directions at once. Louis looks, he goes, cut line. Boullianne did not take that information and translate it into a solid swing.
Tough pass there, and it's going to result in another Karai Ayakatubby point. So Karai Ayakatubby have their first lead at 2-1. You figure that Karai Ayakatubby will serve Boullianne all the time, most of the time, part of the time.
I would say 3 out of 4. Keep Lewis involved. Don't let Bull. You can't give all of these players the same diet all the time. They'll get in a groove. They're all too good. You have to mix it up a little bit, but they'll work on Boullianne the most.
Boullianne chopping it off Karch out of bounds. So a good shot by Bill Boullianne. Of course, one reason you want to serve Boullianne is because he's blocking every time. Try to wear him out a little bit.
And a long match on a hot summer day here at Hermosa. Maybe take his legs away just a little bit from his jump serving game, because he complements Brian Lewis very well from the service line. Lewis is the best, but Boullianne's pretty good.
Boullianne trailing 2-1. And Karch is up high. Oh, Karch Karai, who this weekend will become the first man to win over $2 million in total prize money. Technically, he did it last week, but he'll get the check this week. He'll serve it with a 2-1. And on the line,
I asked him about the $2 million mark. He said it took me about 7 or 8 years to get the first million. It's taken me about 2.5 years to get the second. I like the pace.
Of course, Randy Stoklos, the first man to $1 million, but Karch the first man to $2 million. If you had to bet on the first man of $3 million, Karch, you think Karch will get there before, say, Kent Steffes?
Well, yes, because Steffes missed so much this year. I mean, Steffes would have made, you know, upwards of $400,000 or $500,000 if he and Kirai had won the same number of tournaments they did last year. But of course, Steffes missed so many with the injury to his shoulder and playing this week with Stoklos.
2-1 is our score. Boullianne, and Ayakatubby has it. He wants to rip it if he can. And forced air into the net. So a point for Ayakatubby.
Can't have him. Brian Lewis was all over the line loopy from Scott Ayakatubby, but Boullianne trying to do a little bit too much, came in contact with the net. Easy play for Scott Ayakatubby and Kirai to convert.
Ayakatubby is 30 years old. His house is about a block or two away from Hermosa Beach. Grew up playing right here on these sands, taught by his uncle Matt Gage. Started playing volleyball when he was 6 and has developed into a fine volleyball player. Scott Ayakatubby currently with 11 wins. He got his first win back in 1986. Then he won one in 87. It took him 3 more years to win another one in 1990. Then it took him 4 years to get back in the winner's circle in Baltimore last year. This year, team with Karch, he's won 7. So that'll show you what a good partner will do for you in a hurry.
Took him 12 years to win 4 and about 12 tournaments to win 7.
Ayakatubby having by far his finest year. 3-1 is the score. Karch and Ak lead. And Karch is up high again.
Karch has got his legs this week. Not a good omen for the rest of the field.
We'll take time out. We're coming back. Karch and Ak lead 4-1. You're watching the AVP on NBC. Boullianne and Brian Lewis got off to a very shaky start. They trail 4-1 to the #1 seeded team of Karch Kirai and Scott Ayakatubby. Middle Light Championships semifinal action.
Good. Here we go.
This is Scott Ayakatubby. Let's identify the players for you. Scott Ayakatubby is at the net. He's wearing no shirt today. The Primitive Prince multicolored trunks with the tassels. Of course, behind him is the legendary pink hat, Karch Kirai. Karch playing with Ak last week after dropping Kent Steffes. On the other side, Bill Boullianne, Brian Lewis. Lewis is in green. Here he comes.
Fine.
And Louis is into the bottom of the net.
Unforced error once again. Boy, they're calling a net on Scott Ayakatubby. Big break for Brian Lewis and Bill Boullianne. Little conversation going on between Greg Krause and the umpire.
The ball hit the net. I saw it clear as a bell. The ball hit the net.
Greg Krause, the first referee.
He saw it clear as a bell.
The ball. No.
The soft shot by Brian Lewis comes into the net, pushes it into Scott Ayakatubby.
No.
That is not a violation.
Hit the net. So I saw Scott's arm here. It didn't hit it.
The ball hit the middle of the net.
No.
How could he say his arm hit his net?
No, he saw the net go like, when he saw the net bend like that.
A net there? I didn't see a net.
I didn't see anything.
Okay.
But a net was called. Like I said, saw it clear as a bell. Ayakatubby didn't know you could see as clear as a bell, but Ak seeing it crystal clearly right now. No net on the previous play, or at least none called, and come straight back with a stuff block. All the momentum right now with Kirai and Ayakatubby.
20-second timeout called by Boullianne and Lewis. So Ayakatubby off a great start to lead here in semi-final action, 6-1. Back with more. The Middle Light Championships after this. 6:48 to go. Karch and Ak lead 6-1. As Brian Lewis sets the serve, it has not been a good start for Beef Louie. No serving game, no blocking game, and they've had trouble siding up.
Well, if they don't have any serving game with Brian Lewis atop the Power Ace standings all season long, along with James Fellows, that's what creates their momentum. That's what gets them fired up. And Ayakatubby and Kirai just slowing that down entirely, covering the sidelines, not letting balls get between them.
Double contact called on Brian Lewis. That makes it 7-1. As Lewis and Boullianne have come out tentative.
It's not making anything happen. They're not blocking balls. They're tentative with their serving because they're not siding out with any consistency. And Bill Boullianne told Bill Walton, hey, we got to get into a rhythm, and Kirai and Ayakatubby aren't. And I said, you got to limit errors, particularly against the team that comes in as the favorite this week in Hermosa. Ayakatubby and Kirai, excuse me, Chris, you look back over the season, They've been together twice. Their record on the year is 61-10.
Karai and Ayakatubby.
86% in terms of winning efficiency.
Here's Bill Boullianne with the serve, and he's into the net. And Boullianne frustrated at the moment, unable to get points off Karai and Ayakatubby. And now Karch will serve. He's third on the all-time win list with 109 behind St. John Smith and Randy Stoklow. Smith is at 139. A lot of people think Karch will eventually get to it. And Lewis is out of bounds. And Lewis and Boullianne have just gone into the tank here.
Unforced error number 5. Can't make mistakes, and they're just not generating anything. When you're not siding out, everything becomes very difficult. Can't go and serve with the same sort of velocity or intent.
Lewis and Karch is there pretty easily.
And back up in a hurry.
And he puts it away. So maybe it's not Boullianne and Lewis. It could be Karai and Ayakatubby are on
just
fire. We're coming back. This is the AVP on NBC. Championships, we're live now as Ayakatubby and Karai able to crush Bill Boullianne and Brian Lewis. They went to 11-1. Beef Louie got a point to make it 11-2, but Karai and Ayakatubby just too much. They win going away 15-2. A good performance for Karai and Ayakatubby, and Beef Louie very, very frustrated and demoralized after that one. Coming up shortly, we have live volleyball. Our winners bracket semifinal. Adam Johnson, Jose Loyola will play the surprise team, Rob Heiger and Eric Fenoy Moana. A capacity crowd settling in, but first, let's take a look at the